I want you to hear from him in his own words. It's clip number 1. Go.
Mr. President, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Why are you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you should do it.
Well, I really don't want to put it because of YouTube, fanatic YouTube, criticizing, give me some point if you talk about the medical issues, or something, etc. So I'm just going to leave it alone. I want to put the Billy Graham on. But Billy Graham, I'm not paying for that. Let me see.
Just about when I was winning. But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it. If you're leading by 50, 60, at one point I'm leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it? And I'm going to have 8 people, 10 people, whoever made the debate, I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass.
So he's taking a pass. Again, this might just be me, but I thought it was funny the way he said 2. Some had 1, 2. So he explains his decision not to debate as his unwillingness to allow himself to be put in the ring with people who, as he said, shouldn't be running for president. So I thought that was an interesting answer. What I really think, this is what I really think, and this is going to be a competitive primary. I really believe it's going to be a competitive primary. I think that former President Trump is a bit concerned about being on the stage alongside such a large number of candidates that will cut in on his ability to directly confront those who he perceives as being the most, who have the most ability to beat him to get the GOP nomination. So I think he wants to wait until the field winnows more before he participates in a debate, because being in a format like that last night, I mean, there were times, but I forgot certain people still on the stage, you know? I mean, I'm just telling the truth. Just as a regular, person observing what's happening. Like, oh yeah, Doug Burgum is still up there, Oh, Asa Hutchinson. And can somebody tell me why Asa Hutchinson is still in the race? I don't know. And then at one point he mentioned Asa Hutchinson mentioned being in the Bush administration, and I forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, you were in the Bush administration. You've been around for a long time, man. But on the whole, as I started off by saying, I feel like it's separate tiers of candidates. You have, the former president, Donald Trump, in one place. Then you have Ron DeSantis with Vivek Ramaswamy attempting to approach Ron DeSantis' level. Then you have everybody else. That's what I see. I thought Senator Tim Scott had an opportunity to help himself, but I just don't know if he can do more than what he's done. I think he does have a good record to run on as a South Carolina senator. But again, I do think it's curious, and this is not a debate question, but can somebody help me understand why both U.S. senators from South Carolina are unmarried? Dr. Youngblood has an answer. It's just something I'm interested to know. And then Nikki Haley. I thought her answer on abortion was absolutely putrid. Frankly, I thought it was absolutely putrid. And when did it become something that is a part of a Republican presidential primary? So are we doing identity politics now? I'm a woman. I am a woman. Hear me roar. Like, that's what we're doing. That's what we're rocking with. Like, is she in the wrong primary? She has a record to run on. Why are you consistently referring to yourself as an immigrant and a woman? As a descendant of immigrants and a woman? I thought with the principles of conservatism, we ain't trying to do the identity politics thing. somebody is telling her to do that, which makes me believe that she's campaigning, dare I say, auditioning for a role other than the GOP nominee for the presidency. Because there's no way she strongly believes that that is an argument route that is going to gain gravity with the American people. You have former Vice President Mike Pence. What can I say? Do you think Governor Mike Pence, former Vice President Mike Pence, has a chance to win? I think it's very telling to be the former vice president, but you're pulling behind a dude who's named Vivek Ramaswamy. On the whole, Ramaswamy, DeSantis, I think, performed the best on the debate stage. I think everybody else performed as expected. I don't think anything happened that wasn't expected, except for it got spicy at points. But I don't think anything substantively occurred to change the dynamics very much in terms of the presidential campaign. I think Vivek Ramaswamy introduced himself to a broader audience than he ever had been able to do so before. But I don't think his campaign has staying power ultimately. But it remains to be seen what happens from here. And I'll be interested to see how the candidates pivot from this point. You're listening to Jenna Ellis in the Morning, Abraham Hamilton III, in on her behalf.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG, Greenville, Dallas.
As a federal or state employee, you have the opportunity to support the American Family Association through the combined federal campaign by designating a monthly payroll deduction using 12037. You help AFA continue to fight for your family. So when you complete your CFC form, remember, AFA's number is 12037. And thank you for your help.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Key. Americans heard from 8 Republican presidential hopefuls last night on key 2024 issues during the first GOP primary debate hosted by Fox News. RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel gives her overall thoughts on the debate.
I think it went incredibly well. Thank you to Fox. I think Martha and Brett did a great job. And I love that we talked about policy. And that's what people in Wisconsin, here in this diner, people across the country want to hear us talk about because they're hurting under Biden.
Entrepreneur and political newcomer Vivek Ramaswamy was praised by conservatives on social media Wednesday for bringing up the issue of fatherlessness in the United States.
So look, we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the snake, the Department of Education. Take that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time. Allow any parent to choose where they send their kids to school. End the teachers' unions at the local level to allow public schools to compete. There's a part of education policy that also rests with the family. Part of the problem is we also have a federal government that pays single women more not to have a man in the house than to have a man in the house, contributing to an epidemic of fatherlessness. And I think that goes hand in glove with the education crisis as well, because we have to remember education starts with the family, and the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says he would not allow Hunter Biden to commit a crime by lying on a gun application and then walk free.
And then you have a Justice Department that walks away from those charges. We're telling people that the law doesn't apply to everybody. In a Christie administration, he would go to jail for 10 years.
4 people are dead, several more wounded in a shooting at a popular Southern California night spot, Jack Callahan reports.
Wednesday night, spaghetti night at Cook's Corner in Tribuca Canyon in Orange County ended in gunfire. Sheriff's deputies raced to the scene and confronted the shooter, killing him. Witnesses telling deputies they recognized the man as a former law enforcement officer who may have been targeting his estranged wife. Orange County Undersheriff Jeff Halleck.
It's way too early to confirm any of that, whether it's a specific agency, whether he's actually retired or where he retired from, but we're working to confirm that.
2 of the 6 people wounded were reported to be in critical condition. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
An immigration enforcement organization says 3 Marxist-led Latin American countries are using migration as a weapon. More from Chad Groening.
More than 40 years ago, Cuban dictator Fidel Castro unleashed the Mariel boat lift, during which he sent about 125,000 criminals and political malcontents to the United States, wreaking havoc on many American communities. Castro understood that migration could be used as a weapon. Ira Millman is media director for the Federation for American Immigration Reform.
He opened up his jails, mental institutions, and put them on boats and sent them to the United States, where they imposed tremendous burdens on local communities, actually almost derailed the political career of Bill Clinton. He agreed to take some of those folks and lost his re-election bid for governor of Arkansas that year. But the bottom line was that this imposed burdens on communities in the United States, which was exactly his objective.
Now he says Castro's proteges have learned well from their ideological mentor.
The Nicaraguan government, the Venezuelan government, the Cuban government, the 3 notable Marxist governments in the Western Hemisphere, seem to be working in concert, where the Venezuelans are flying the migrants to Nicaragua. Daniel Ortega is issuing visas to them and using it as a staging ground for them to head up to the U.S. borders.
Millman says all 3 dictatorships benefit from an increased flow of remittances to boost their failing economies, while the U.S. incurs billions in social costs and destabilizing social disruption, all with the seeming acquiescence of the Biden administration. I'm Chad Groening.
Futures for the S&P 500 gained 0.6% before the bell. The NASDAQ jumped 1.2%, while Dow futures lagged, inching back 0.1%. American Family News is online at afn.net. And download the AFN mobile app for your Apple or Android device. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The Bachelor of Arts in Christian Ministry at Wesley Biblical Seminary is the perfect opportunity to prepare for God's calling on your life. It's easy to make excuses why you can't pursue what God has called you to do, but this program removes those barriers, flexible class options, an affordable cost, and highly trusted professors. WBS is the school for you, and now is the time to take a next step and prepare for God's calling on your life. Learn more at wbs.edu. That's wbs.edu.
Good morning and welcome to Real Truth for Today. Pastor Jeff Strebe here. Well, if you have been listening, you know that Abraham Hamilton III was filling in for Jenna Ellis, and he was talking about the debate, the Republican debate. That's on people's minds today, and so no doubt on American Family Radio, you're going to hear a lot about the Republican debate and how things went, and I appreciate Abe for sharing clips and things like that of the debate last night. For some people, that stuff's hard to watch. For others, they just love it. So we're changing gears a little bit today on Real Truth for Today, and I want to share with you, I have in the studio a dear friend of mine and who's a strong member of our church and makes such a difference in our Celebrate Recovery ministry, BJ Ford. He has a testimony. As we were walking up, I said, BJ, you didn't have a legion of demons like the man from Gadara, but you have a similar testimony in that the Lord delivered you from a life of drug addiction and really hell on earth. And BJ loves to share his story and share what the Lord has done for him, just like the Gadarene demoniac. He wanted to go with Jesus. Jesus wouldn't let him. He said, no, go home to your people and report to them the great things the Lord has done for you and how he had mercy on you. And the man went away and began to proclaim in Decapolis what great things Jesus had done for him, and everyone marveled. So Jay has a story that will make you marvel, because it just shows that the Lord Jesus can change a life, and he saves from the guttermost to the uttermost. So BJ, thanks for being my guest today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brother Jeff.
All right, so I was reading your testimony. You shared it with me, and I was reading through it again this morning. And you had shared it at church in a video, but it was very condensed. It was only about 4 minutes. It's hard to share all that the Lord has done in your life in 4 minutes. But as I was reading the full version, wow, a difficult growing up that led to drug abuse and drug addiction. So let's talk about those early years. What was life like for BJ Ford growing up?
Well, I was born in Texarkana in about 1977, and my dad, he was a drug addict, so he left around the age of 1. And so my mom, she was still trying to find her way in the world, so she worked a lot, and I was staying at my grandma's house. And so I used to move back and forth from grandma.
Your mom was super young.
Yes, she was very young, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of bouncing back and forth from mom and grandma's house. And so anyways, my mom, she got remarried around the age of 8 or so, and it was to an abusive stepdad. And so he used to physically and verbally abuse me and my mom for about 2 to 3 years.
Not sexually, just hitting you?
Yeah, just hitting and verbal and stuff. And
was he an alcoholic?
No, he wasn't actually.
So he was just mean?
Yeah, it's just a struggle that he had, you know?
Yeah.
But after that, I picked up a lot of hurts during that time of my life.
Yeah. Now, BJ, did you, because of that, did you grow up wanting to fight people?
Well, I wouldn't say I wanted to fight, but I was an angry person.
Uh-huh.
I was angry, so.
And you got angry at your mom?
I did, because I looked at her almost as a protector, because she had always been around my life to a degree, and she allowed it to keep going on.
So she knew that was happening, and she just turned a blind eye, or what?
Well, it's not that she turned a blind eye. I just think that she didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we all struggle, and sometimes we get ourselves in situations that we don't know how to get out of.
Yeah. So it was you, your mom, and your sister married to this guy. She didn't have any kids with that guy.
She did. That was my sister. She's
okay.
She's 9 years younger than I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long was your mom with that guy?
They were together till about the age of 10. So it was just a couple of years, thank God, right?
Yeah. Okay, but it was long enough time for you to get angry and then blame your mom for bringing this guy into your home.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so that kind of set the stage for a rebellious young kid.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And so how does a hurt, angry, rebellious 10-year-old BJ Ford, how does he deal with life?
Well, he's angry all the time, and so now I'm wanting to do it my way and nobody else's way, because I didn't trust the authorities above me, which would have been my parents and the dads that were either gone or abusive.
Yeah.
And so I got in trouble in school a lot.
Yeah. But how old were you when you first started taking drugs?
Well, because of my behavioral issues, my mom, she didn't really know how to handle me, so she started getting me tested. They said I was ADD, and they started putting me on Ritalin, which is a pharmaceutical methamphetamine. And they would try the doses, this and that, and they would be like, we just got to get the dose right. We just got to figure out what works for you. And so by the age of 12, since I had that thinking and that seed planted, I started looking for drugs on the street. And that's when I started smoking weed at the age of 12.
Yeah. So what does Ritalin do to a kid?
Well, for me, it actually kind of calmed me down a little bit.
Even though it's meth normally speeds you up, right?
Yes.
But not in that form?
No, because if the dose is right, it kind of calms me down, and it does help me to focus. And even the street drugs of meth, if I did just the right amount, it would do that effect, but I would have to do more because I was looking for the high.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, so introduced that way through, doctor's prescription, you're supposed to take this.
Yes.
And then from there, that opened the door to smoking pot, drinking, or what?
Well, yeah, after I started smoking pot at the age of 12, I started winding up on the drug scene in St. Louis. And then I got introduced to LSD. And I tried that at 13. And by the age of 15, I was carrying on with drinking and weed and LSD and pills. And by the age of 15, I started IV drug using meth.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you have friends at school that are doing this with you, or how does that work?
Well, it's kind of like the birds of a feather flock together.
Uh-huh.
So if that's what you're going to drift to, then you're going to drift into them circles.
Uh-huh.
So yes, I have ran into people here and there.
Okay, so that as a little, you're a young guy, just a young teenager. Are you thinking this is cool, or are you thinking, man, I'm messing up my life, or what's going through your head?
Well, looking back now, at the time I was just trying to fit in because I didn't fit in with my own family because of the dysfunction in it.
Right.
So then I started looking for friends and cliques on the street that I could have my own family.
Right.
And so my mom, because she put me out at the age of 14, that's when I started moving into friends' houses and bouncing from couch to couch.
Okay, your mom did that because you were just too hard to handle?
That's true. I was. I don't blame her for that. I mean, I hate that it went down that way, but the fact is that I made it so crazy that she just didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you knew you were doing that?
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
You did that on purpose?
I did, because like I said, I wanted my way and I wanted to do my drugs, and I didn't want anybody to tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Okay, so that's got to be a terrifying experience as a 14-year-old to be out on your own.
It is. There is some fears. There were some nights that I didn't have anywhere to sleep. So I would be sleeping next to some train tracks behind someone's house or something in St. Louis. And so it did have its downsides. But on the upsides at 14, I was kind of free in a sense, in a twisted way, I guess.
Okay, drugs cost a lot of money, and you're a 14-year-old kid with no job. So what are you just stealing? What are you doing? How are you getting money?
Well, so a friend that I did live with, he had an older brother that lived in the house, and he worked. And he was watching over us at times, because his parents, they drove trucks. And so he was able to bring in the drugs. And of course, it would snow a lot in St. Louis, so we would go shoveling driveways.
Okay, so you could make a little money.
Yeah. And so a lot of it is I hung out with other kids, man, who were still at home, and they would get money from their parents. And so money would come one way or the other in different forms.
So did you drop out of school at 14?
Well, actually what happened is I wound up, our school burnt down in St. Louis in 7th grade. Okay. And so some kid went in there and burned it down. And
not you.
No, not me. No, that wasn't me. They actually caught the kid. And so, but I quit doing school as far as actually applying myself at the age of 6th grade. And so when the school burnt down, they just sent us to school for like 1-2 hours a day just to get us through the year. And they passed everybody.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So by the time I made it to 8th grade, I wound up moving back down to Texarkana with my grandma because it was just crazy in St. Louis. And I just went to school just enough to drop out.
So she was from Texarkana, or how did you end up here?
Well, yes, my family originated from Texarkana. I wound up in St. Louis because my mom's job, she worked for the government, moved us to St. Louis.
Okay, so how old are you when you come back to Texarkana?
So I was probably around, I think, 15, maybe 16, give or take a little bit. My memory's a little foggy on dates back then.
And your grandmother's a Christian?
Yes, she is a Christian. She used to come here and listen to you preach.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And you knew that.
Yes.
And she knew that you were out there.
She did.
And so I'm assuming she's praying for you that the Lord would get a hold of your heart.
She is. I believe she. And I believe my mom prayed for me too. But Grandma, she really had a lot more dealings with me, so I know that she was really praying for me. She didn't understand the drug addiction,
right?
So she just knew I was lost.
Well, so BJ, as we were talking before the program, I think most people are probably naive, especially older people that didn't have that. We were talking about alcohol. Most of us understand alcohol, that you can start drinking and then it's too much and then you get addicted to that. It definitely wrecks and ruins your life, but it's different. It's a slower wrecking and ruining of a life versus drugs that can be very quick to ensnare and just pull you away. You don't find, it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can find a lot more functioning alcoholics than functioning drug addicts. Is that true?
Yeah, and a lot of reasons alcohol's legal.
Mm-hmm.
And the addiction varies per person on alcoholism, but yeah, drugs, they can crash you out because of the psychosis that they give you immediately when you take them.
So now in your past, it was alcohol and drugs, so you did those together?
Yes, I didn't prefer alcohol, but if I was completely broke, it was the cheapest.
Yeah.
So.
And you have to do a lot more of that. That takes a lot longer time, right?
Well, it does to a degree, but because I was a drug addict looking for the instant high, I would actually drink fast to try to get that immediate high. So I would take like a fifth of whiskey and I would drink it within about an hour and a half.
And it never made you sick?
Well, of course it made me sick, at times, but